Martin, I want us to move on quickly to the letter by or the release by Ken Ofori-Attah's family, where they say, for instance, that the OSP has been engaged in use of office for vendetta and political persecution. He's deliberately been suppressing evidence and denial of institutional flexibility to permit compliance with orders. But for me, where I want your views on is his legal team inquiring from the Commission for Control of Interpol's files, whether the suits to the Human Rights Court scheduled to be heard, and the ruling on June 18, and the Mayos doctors' letters and reports, and the scheduled cancer surgery would have indeed impacted in or would have affected the declaration of him on Interpol's red alert. Legally, I'd want to understand. I'm sure you've read, Articles 2 and 3 of the Interpol Constitution. Would these things have mattered if they were disclosed to Interpol?
Well, let's put it this way. It's difficult to stick out one's neck to say that a disclosure of that would automatically have led to Interpol to decline. Okay, putting Ofori-Attah on the red notice. It's difficult because it's a discretionary matter.
Okay.
Because if we're disclosing those, then certainly you would also realize that a very big gap, right, within Ofori-Attah's own defense is the fact that he made out the March 20th, 21 medical appointment as a big surgery, which requires so much attention. And so OSP even give him more time after the surgery. They themselves in their letter acknowledge that OSP had been generous or they had overindulged them. They were very happy because he had given more, far more than they anticipated. So they cannot come back now to cry foul. No. Right? So the Commission for the Control of Interpol files, yes, it's an independent body, okay, but within Interpol. Right? But they also use discretion. And when you are exercising a discretion, what do you look at? You look at all the facts. All the facts. So it's not as if it's just a one-way traffic that you just go and complain that this and this and this mean that Interpol didn't do the right thing. No. Very, very key in Ofori-Attah's defense is that failure to be candid with the OSP, that he was going for a diagnostic procedure. It wasn't a major surgery. Why do you make out a diagnostic procedure? Let's say
that was his understanding, Martin. Let's say, granted, that was his understanding that this was the case. After all, it was a letter from his doctor. So how then does it become a challenge when he was only presenting letters from his doctors?
Perfect. So, Winston, after March 21st, what happened? When it turned out to be a simple diagnostic procedure, why did Ofori-Attah keep quiet? Why didn't Ofori-Attah reach out to the OSP that, it wasn't a major surgery after all? So, now I'm due to go for the surgery on June 13th. Can we arrange so that I meet you earlier, etc.? Reach out. That failure to reach out is very material. It totally erodes all honesty from Ofori-Attah's engagement with the OSP.
Okay.
It's a big. I look at it and I'm like, come on. I mean, what kind of shambolic way of dealing with the OSP is it? And Winston, I say this in the context that remember when OSP first issued the red. They put him on the Interpol red notice. I disagreed. I said when Ofori-Attah was leaving this country, he gave notice to the various officers. All right? So I disagreed. But this second one, the way Ofori-Attah is behaved, he deserves to be there. But there's also a third point, Winston, that we also have to hold OSP accountable for the way it didn't take Ofori-Attah's offer to start engaging him whilst he was in the U.S. You hear OSP come to say something like, we can't take a caution statement via Zoom, etc. Please, that's not an answer. The moment people say engaging, there is a law. So let's just say that everybody speaking, maybe we're not articulate enough and said take caution statement on Zoom. What it means is that under the Mutual Legal Assistance Act, you could have asked the U.S. authorities to take the caution statement. It's simple. All they need is to touch him and say they are arresting him. So blah blah blah. He has a right to be silent. There are some procedural things before he writes the statement. It's not any rocket science. Okay. So when people say engaging Zoom, yes, there's a right to use Zoom under Section 42 of the Mutual Legal Assistance Act, right? Yes, the OSP say he's not yet an accused. All those answers are not answers. The moment citizens discovered that OSP could have engaged him by asking the American authorities to do the arrest just for the purpose of taking statement, etc., OSP should have just accepted it and said, well, okay, next time we can look at it. But the defense of coming to say, I cannot take caution via Zoom, etc., with due respect, it's not an answer. Look at the meaning of it. Does OSP accept that they could have asked the American authorities to do this for us? Because we do things, extradition, etc. For the Americans, a lot of Ghanaians are extradited to the U.S. to face justice, etc. This one where we have not actually asked them to extradite Oforiatta. Just go do the cautioning so that Oforiatta can write his statement. It's nothing. So the third point is that OSU going forward must also watch how it's been dealing with this matter, because you see, if they had taken Oforiatta's offer that time and had taken the caution statement, etc., now that we are all not happy about how Oforiatta is, deceived the OSP, etc., they could have gone ahead to start the trial in absentia, because by then, because they've engaged him through U.S. authorities and will continue to engage him, etc., OSP say, look, simple. We are filing the charges on this day. Come or you don't come. So we could have gained time. But I said, no, we need him physically. Yes, I'm not challenging OSP's investigative powers to need him physically. But we are looking at how the time was managed. I think the OSP believed the Oforiatta too much. They didn't have a plan B. But you can't go into any major project like this without a plan B. So as you think good, you think evil. But what if this guy doesn't come? Do you know that there were a lot of people who said Oforiatta would never come? Yeah, a lot of skeptics said that, look, he's just deceiving you guys. Get on. So there should have been a plan B. So the plan B would have been engaging him all this while, doing all the necessary things that could be done. So when June 2nd came and he said he would not come, etc., then by now the charges would have been filed.
Okay.
Then the court case will be going on.
So if I get you clearly, Martin, you're saying that the OSP could have actually been a bit proactive in dealing with all of this. Now, by using the mutual legal assistance, would that then not be a justification for Ken's family saying they sense persecution instead of prosecution?
Well, you can't take that argument from them. No, I have to be fair. As I said, we also, Ben Watches, ASEP, CDD, etc., we have a lawsuit against Oforiatta. Yet, I have to be fair. It's an argument. Yes, that's their interpretation. Once OSP didn't take that offer, we can't take that argument from them that they see this as persecution. No, I don't want to, be unfair to Oforiatta. No. Right. I believe if we use the right processes, we can still go through and hold him accountable. So I don't need to, say no when the answer is clear. Yes, when I make an offer that I'm available, this, and then you say no, I will not deal with you to any extent at all until you come into the jurisdiction. The family can make that argument, but it doesn't mean too that the family are right. But what I'm saying is that statement doesn't appear to be unreasonable. No, that is their interpretation of what is happening. They are entitled to it.
Thank you very much, Martin Kpebu, for joining us this morning. Martin Kpebu is a private legal practitioner joining us here on the Super Morning Show.